and it is 8:31, and it looks like the last day, actually 2 days, pretty much overnight, and one whole day and then overnight again, have been hovering around that green line, hasn't really gone up or down. As a matter of fact, kind of see a pennant pattern. And you can see my purple lines right here. We've got a ceiling very well established here, and I didn't draw it all the way down here so that it would show it properly on this screen, because that would be past or earlier than the amount of data that I have here. So I started at this trough here and then drew it up to there. So we can see kind of a pennant pattern. It's getting squeezed into this pattern, and we're at the bottom of it. Now I'm looking at the 4-hour chart here, and we can kind of see that the MACD is like losing momentum, and the RSI is kind of losing momentum, and it looks like it could very well break out of that pennant pattern in a downward motion, which could drop all the way to this blue line, which is signified by the dotted red line. That's a big drop, because remember, this is a really long-term chart. Not 100% certain there, but it does look like we've got a pretty solid ceiling right there. Okie dokie. So, like I said, we're at the kind of the bottom part of this pennant, and even though I do think longer term it's going to be dropping, I think it's probably going to go up to this purple line in the next leg. So I decided to do a long. Got in there maybe just a smidge early, but not too worried. I didn't bother putting in stops because we are, I don't know, I'm pretty certain where it's going to go. I mean, it did break through a little bit here, but immediately recovered. And I'm just going to quickly run through this because it just was so slow this morning. I went ahead and got out at this resistance level right here. It just was, let's see, that was 9:16. So I held on to that first trade for about an hour. It just did not want to move at all. It was kind of boring, actually. But I made $125 in that trade. All right. The opening bell is in nearly 10 minutes, and it looks like it kind of thought about breaking through that. I'm still thinking it may go up to that point. I'm just waiting to get in at a good opportunity. Okay, I think I found it right there. It started to look like it was going to break through, so I did another long and watched it, and it started to go up. I had gotten up to this one trade was $362. That's a pretty big amount of money for one trade, so I was getting a little bit nervous, and the RSI was really high. So I went ahead and just, I had been following it up with a stop, but that didn't seem to want to be taking. So I followed it up with a limit order and got filled, got out. So I was over, let's see, I think it was around $475 with that. I was sitting there. Okay, so now it's kind of flattened out. We're not quite to the purple line. I suspected it might go up just a little bit further, but that's not a great deal of a movement. I went ahead and got in a short because the MACD looked really good. The RSI had dropped. I thought probably it would drop again, and so I got in a short. It did go up to that purple line and actually broke through it a little bit, but it held. I mean, it went up even further, which really is interesting to me because we had defined that ceiling pretty strongly, and so there is a lot of bullish momentum right now out there. That kind of surprised me. So because it broke through, I think that made people nervous enough that it started to drop, and then it went up again. So it's fighting that downward motion, and it's broken through that purple line. That's very worrisome to me. I've lost almost half my profits trying to figure out if I should hang on or get out. And I very nervously hung on. It would show signs like this and that, and it's like, okay, I think it might be okay. I watched very closely right here. It did seem to want to break through ever so slightly and then a little bit more. And so I was still at a loss right here, but it looked like it was probably going to be dropping. So I hung on Also, if you look at the longer term charts, 15-minute charts, you can see the red line, the red candle develop here. Haven't seen that on the 30-minute chart yet, but as soon as we do, I think that you're likely to see a good drop. While I was waiting, I switched this to the 1-hour chart and zoomed in a little bit so you could see it hopefully. And again, it's a little bit worrisome. The MACD is looking like it's tipping up there. I mean, it is above the average line. The RSI is really high, but nevertheless, the MACD is tipping up and looking like it's doing a golden cross situation there. So while I was typing all that out, I happened to notice that it had made a big drop. So here I'm sitting at a very small profit, almost $100 profit here. And I decided just to go ahead and get out. And because of that last trade going up a little bit further than I was expecting, I just decided I'm good. 3 trades. It's not quite 10 o'clock yet. I'm good. And it's $562.50 in profit minus my 3 commissions. So I thought that was a good trade.